All right, so Pro Fluke, please tell us why you chose Fuerte as your main.
Fuerte.
Yeah, like why Fuerte out of like everyone else? There's Evil Ryu, that's everyone's been saying is like number one. So like there's a whole wide variety of the cast, and not really Fuerte is not really a popular character. So why did you choose Fuerte over so many characters?
Well, this is actually quite embarrassing, Justin. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't. El Fuerte, I mean King in Tekken. Can you not tell? The math and stuff? Oh no, El Fuerte.
Yeah.
I picked up the game in Super.
Yeah, okay.
I was playing. I'm crying. I was playing Ken.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching. I was started to get more interest in the game. I started looking at YouTube videos of Street Fighter tournaments. You know, I've obviously seen the third strike moment between Justin and Daigo.
Yeah.
And I was watching a tournament, and I remember, I think it was an Alpha player called Iori or Lori. They call it. I can't remember what his pronunciation is, but it's spelled Loi.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got here. There we go. And I was thinking, this character looks amazing. What he was doing with it, he was just like, his opponents looked like they just didn't know what to do. They, he was just knocking them down and going ham.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I like this character. Like, I like how mobile he is. The kind of options he has. So I kind of started then messing around with him myself. So yeah, it kind of inspired me seeing like another player using him in a tournament setting where he was really dominating with that character, and that's why I kind of started messing around with him, and that's why I am today, really, because of kind of what I've seen there, really. I don't know if you want me to talk about the stages of how I've kind of progressed with him or not. Or...
Yeah, let's go through it, man. Yeah, how did you progress with him?
Let's do it. So I'm also with Mask. I'm obviously committed. I'm still crying, man. So yeah, for a long while, I'd hit a wall. I knew how to do special moves and how to do his ultras, but I wasn't able to do any max damage with him.
Yeah.
So a lot of my tournaments, people once they real, even though El Fuerte he's a little bugger to deal with. Like, once you knew what I was only capable of, people knew how to deal with that. So I'd only get so far in tournament based on kind of like people lacking character knowledge.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it's over the last year or so, maybe a year and a half. I was at a tournament called Versus Fighting 3 held by the guys at Electronic Dojo in Birmingham.
I know them, man. Yeah, they're cool.
Good guys, yeah. Justin Xavier is the head of that. And I'd run into a friend of mine, Dog Tanyan, which obviously you're probably aware of. He was one of the first UK El Fuerte, one of the first successful UK El Fuertes.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew of him, and I'd seen him at a few tournaments beforehand, and I've seen what he could kind of do with the character, but we kind of got chatting, because I actually had to face Problem X in that tournament. And afterwards, we'd had a bit of a chat as well, and he kind of saying like, I've made the kind of right reads and things, but when I had the opportunity for damage, there was no damage output. It was just going for another mix-up, and there's only so many times you can guess against someone and get it right. That's the whole point of guessing. It's a guess. It's not 100% guaranteed. It's not unblockable. It's just a guess. If you guess wrong, they're going to get a big damage output on you. So if you can try and minimise the amount of guesses you make with El Fuerte, that you'll be more successful. You'd have to rely on those guesses you can get the damage output on. And the thing with El Fuerte, the thing that gets the most damage is something called RSF, or One Stop First.
Yeah.
And what that entails is it's basically like a loop combo. You kind of have to obviously do your first punch, your jab, run, stop, and then loop it. Yeah. It's not as easy as that though. There's a bit of a rhythm to it. So I was just like, I tried it beforehand with the normal button layout. So like, obviously, like, you have your normal button layout on your pad kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's normally medium punch, and then your bump is normally hard punch. So
right.
I kind of tried it doing that, but it just felt weird. I just couldn't do it. But after Versus Fighting 3, I was like, okay, I need to change either character or put the time in to somehow figure out how to RSF with Fuerte.
Yeah.
So for about, this is going to sound sad, but for about a solid 2 months, 3 hours a day, I was just in training, trying to figure out button layouts. How could I do this? Is it possible to do it with a different button layout? And if I change those, is the rest of the game still going to be viable? And a couple of days in, I figured out that if I changed my strong, which is I don't know if you can see that, if I changed my strong with my fierce and swap those around, so I had fierce now next to jab. I'd learned a technique where I could basically slide my thumb between now, which was fierce, which would have been the slap, into run, and then I can kind of do a loop using a slide technique.
That's wicked. That's wicked.
It's and the thing is, it's not really been done before. If you kind of look up on YouTube and have a look for pads, Fuerte players, either they can't run stop fierce, or you get Desk who does it with the normal layout. So I started to get a couple of loops. I was like, this is actually going to be potentially possible. And about 2 months in, I was landing like 6 or 7 consistently, like obviously offline and under no pressure, of course,
Yeah.
So that's how I've basically learned to RSF. So I kind of have David to thank for that, or Dogtanian, because he kind of like helped me put things into perspective. I guess I knew I had to do that, but it really made me feel that I've got to make a decision. I either drop the character or get that loop down and then able to actually get that damage output out, which means obviously I'd have to guess less. So yeah.
Alright, wicked, man. In terms of like L30 matchups, which matchups do you find the hardest?
Are we really going to do this?
Yeah, we are. We are. We're gonna do this. Which matchups do you find the hardest?
Oh God! I mean, the thing is, like, I've got my own. Each to their own. That's what I say, because like you get all these like big players like Pepper Day releasing their own tier lists.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I want to know what you find the hardest, not what the tier list says. What do you find the hardest?
And I don't agree with half his tier list or other L30 players, but my personal ones. This is going to like lead to other people maining his characters now and just blowing me up. I should say my hardest matchups are my easiest ones. So yeah, guys, I really struggle with Ryu. You should play Ryu against me now. The one character which every L30 player says they struggle with will be Rose. Rose is the toughest matchup in the whole game for many reasons. She just has certain buttons from certain ranges which will stuff every single thing that Fuerte can do. I mean, she shares obviously the close medium kick on wake up, which can mess up a lot of options for Fuerte as well. So unless you're using cube on wake up, you can either have to take the grab, the block, or the close medium kick. But she just has a lot of options which, her slide and stuff, it nullifies a lot of Fuerte's footsie. Well, I say he does have footsies. I mean, I know he's a run special character, but he does have pokes and things, but you can't even poke her out of a lot of stuff. So you kind of lose the mid game already. And then, if you're wall jumping, she can react with other stuff as well. It's just the pressure that she keeps on Fuerte. You have to guess more against her than any other character, I think, in the game, just because of her options. And her backdash is amazing as well. But everyone's obviously going to struggle against her focus backdash, aren't they? It's too godlike. I've played sets with Luffy. He's obviously the best Rose in the world. I mean, it goes back and forth, but I think it's probably maybe more on top than, I think he's maybe won more games than I've won against him, but it's always really close when we play. So I've like 5-4, 4-5, 3-2, 2-3. So, it's always quite close, which is good. That's comparing against the best Rose though, isn't it? When I play other Roses in the UK, there's another one that I would say is equally just as good. Well, he's probably better at the matchup because he's from my scene. So have you heard of a player called Zaus?
No, I've not heard of him.
Okay, I mean, and the reason being is because he doesn't travel that much, but because I've obviously been in the Leicester scene for God knows how many years now, three or so years, he's had that weekly interaction with an Fuerte player, and he's obviously like nailed down the matchup. So he's probably better than the matchup than Luffy is, I'd say, kind of thing, just because he's had that weekly experience.
Okay.
But he again, when I play with him, it goes back and forth. I never go into the match thinking I'm gonna win, I'm gonna lose. I don't know the outcome until the last KO, really. Okay. So that's one of them. Just quickly listing maybe a few others. Abel's quite a tough matchup just because of his step kick and mix up options.
Yeah.
Yun is another cheeky one. There's a few characters in the game which Fuerte's one stop first combo.
Yeah.
Can't land more than like 2 loops on certain characters.
Well, is he one of them?
Yun's one, and then it's you've got like a laner. It's basically it's got to be frame perfect, which you can't frame perfect in RSF like half the time, but a lot of the time you'll literally get 2 stops and then their body kind of just flails back. So any of those matchups like Yun Yang, that I found those difficult just because I don't have a damage output or a high damage output. And that makes sense, right? If you can't get damage against someone, it means you're going to have to guess more, and if they guess wrong or guess right, you know, if they guess right, you're screwed basically. So yeah, I'd say kind of Rose, Abel, and then maybe those characters where you struggle to get the damage output on. Blanca's always difficult, but we only face Blancas online, don't you? I don't ever play them offline for some reason. Just
Yeah.
no one
No,
goes to tournaments basically plays Blanca.
no one really uses Blanca offline, really, in a serious competition.
No,
Not
it's
really.
true. I mean, when I think of Blanca, the only one that comes to mind is Sean Spalding in Middlesbrough, and he's probably the only UK Blanca representative who goes actually offline. So
Yeah. So what's your like easier matchup? What's your easy like? What matchups is it's just a walk in the park, or not really a walk in the park, but what's more easier for you to like deal with?
it's a tough question.
No, like when you see that character on the character select screen, you just be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all right.
Okay, I'll tell you the matchup, which is technically one of my hardest and one of my easiest at the same time. Okay, it depends on the player.
Who is it?
Because alright, it is T-Hawk.
T-Hawk?
If I fight any T-Hawks which are not either Incognitus or because individually it's Incognitus who's clearly one of the best in the UK and Europe, and if it's not him, because the reason why is it's to do with the Q bomb. Now you can only punish the Q bomb if you do a certain kind of block stance, which is basically stand block, and you punish them. But if you crouch block a Q bomb with T-Hawk, you can't punish it.
Okay.
So when Ultra first came out and the Q bomb changes on there, I was kind of just like, every time I saw T-Hawk I get excited, and there's replays on my Twitch of me just double perfecting T-Hawks because they're not punishing it. So obviously if you don't know how to punish it, then you're gonna get, it's gonna be 10-0 easily. But I played a long set with Incognitus last night actually. And I think at one point he was 9 games up straight. It's just a matchup where, again, it's like there's more risk than reward kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you just guess wrong, you get SPD'd and you just get knocked down again. But T-Hawk can be the easiest matchup online. It just depends on the player really. And apart from that, I'd maybe say I like playing against Shotos. I like playing against, even though the mash and stuff. But if you know how to bait out someone who's mashing like a Dragon Punch, you're gonna get your run stop fierce, stun and stuff. So it's not a bad. So I like playing against Shotos. Seth in particular, just because I love how even though he's had a health buff, you can still get him stunned quite easily and get a lot of damage on him. So I like playing against Shotos just because I've had probably the most amount of experience in that matchup.
Alright, wicked man. Which leads me on to my last question about L30. For the people that are trying to lose that character, because I remember when I tried to use that character, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, what type of advice would you give to players that are trying to pick up L30 on a serious level?
Okay, so if you're trying to pick up the character on a serious level, the process, which if I was new and I wanted to pick him up, I would go into trials, challenge mode, whatever it's called, on the game.
Yeah.
I'd work the way through that firstly. Just get that out of the way. Do it maybe a couple of times so you understand how like the character works and what his specials are, what his normals are. At that point, then you want to basically look online and see what his bread and butter combos are. What I would say a good source of information for not just Fuerte but any other character. You've had Zombie Brian. He's recently updated his website. He's revamped it all. You should basically check it out because he's basically put some character hubs up on there, and so in these hubs it gives you he's posted all the best kind of content from those the people who play those characters. So for example, with El Fuerte, he's gathered lots of videos and lots of content, lots of guides, and he's put it on the El Fuerte hub. So that's a really good source of information, so you can see about the best kind of players, how they use the character. So even if you could do all the moves and stuff, you still might not know how to play him in certain matchups and things. That's a really good source for that. And just generally look up on YouTube as well. Just looking up if you struggle with a certain matchup, just type in El Fuerte versus Rose or something and try and see what the best players kind of do in that situation. And then just what I would personally as well, if you want to learn the character, what I have done recently on my stream, I will dedicate maybe a few hours, and I will allow people just send me invites and things, and I'll either go into online training with them. I will view replays of them playing with El Fuerte and try and give them tips and stuff that way. I know I'm not probably the best El Fuerte in the world, but I like to help other El Fuerte players who are trying to learn the character. So it's approaching other people who play that character as well, who are open to help you, is also a really good idea. So, and you can check me out on my stream where I do that, which is just twitch.tv/. twitch.tv/pro_fluke.
Alright, wicked, man. Alright, well, we're gonna cut this one and then we're gonna get into our last interview. So, guys, you heard it from him. Follow his stream and yeah, let's get networking, guys.
Cheers, man.
Alright.